Hi Natasha, I hope all is well with you. So thank you for sort of getting back to me across the board. Like I said, I was tied up in meetings all day yesterday. So I just wanted to get some initial value over to you. But I essentially just want to go through each campaign, give you some recommendations across the board as to what I would look at what I would look at turning off. So let's jump over into our South African campaign. How excited about you moving over to the Done For You, by the way? I'd say very excited to have you over here. Thing that I'm noticing here, frequencies above 2 for a top of funnel campaign. What I tend to see, and I might be completely wrong here, is that when our frequency goes above 2 for top of funnel, is that the cost per result of these two is going to go up quite a bit. So what are we at, 33? Yeah, okay. So okay, so what I'd be doing straight out the back is this bottom one, look at my hair one, I'd be getting this one turned off. So 55 bucks cost per purchase, what we're looking at over. Yeah, so that one would definitely be going for me. Like I said, we're in the South Africa. God, my head is really annoying. It always gets in the way. So yeah, South African campaign, I'd be getting that one turned off. Would be keeping a very close eye on these. Like I said, frequencies creeping up a little too high that I like to see, which is going to which is going to drive our cost per result up. But we are still profitable across the board, right? Now, in terms of scaling wise, let's have a look at where we are. Okay, that's pretty good here. So I would personally be looking to scale this quick fixes one. Now, I personally wouldn't vertically scale it. So vertically scaling is essentially a case of adding 10 to 20% to the budget. What I would personally do in this instance is horizontally scale it. So duplicate the ad set, and then let's run like a slight variation off this. So can we potentially have a look at changing the thumbnail, for example? Can we maybe have a look at like changing the hook? And what we're essentially doing is making like little iterations to see if we can improve that performance even more. So that's my sort of thought process for the South African campaign. And just to sort of make you aware, because I know like a question that you could say is, well, why am I not sort of scaling, like why am I not sort of scaling some of the other ones that are sitting at a really good cost per result? I personally like to see at least sort of a bare minimum of 5 purchases across the board for scale. Now, I'm not sort of recommending the vertical scale aspect, so adding 10 to 20% to the budget once or twice a week in this instance, just because our cost per result is coming down with this. And one thing that I tend to find when we increase the budget on a specific ad, that the cost per result can hinder a little bit, just because Facebook essentially has to distribute that ad to like a less targeted audience, where when and it's on such a good trend at the moment, like going down from sort of 27 to 17 bucks per purchase. I don't want to do anything to that ad that's going to hinder the performance in any way. Where with the horizontal scale aspect, we're not touching this ad, but we're making little iterations to not only see if we can improve the performance, but another good benefit of the horizontal scale is we improve the longevity of the ad. So as you're going to be fully aware, when we launch an ad, it it has an ad log run for a certain amount of time. It'll get good results, and then it's only a matter of time where that ad will then start the cost per result will start to increase. Where with the horizontal scale aspect, we essentially just keep dragging out that process. So that's my sort of thought process with the South African campaign. And by the way, it's all looking really good across the board. It's nice to see that our Advantage Plus shopping campaign for Tanzania is picking up quite a bit. Let's jump into our just pop myself back over here. So if we go cost per purchase, frequency's high on this, but cost per result's coming down dramatically. Wow, that's very interesting to see. So I would personally be getting these two killed now. 30 days, 30 bucks cost per purchase, 24 bucks cost per purchase. They've doubled in price. I tend to find once they go up, they're very unlikely to come down. So I'd be getting those ones killed. And what are we looking at in terms of this video? Clinical trials and potentially this one as well for some. So this one I wouldn't scale just because I'd like to see another purchase in there before we look, but this one is potentially ready to scale. So they're both sitting around that 18 bucks, 17 and 12. Yeah, so I would be looking to horizontally scale these two as well. I would potentially be looking to vertically scale the Why It Works one, just because the cost per result is holding out fairly strong at the moment. It's sort of gone from 18 to 17. So if we increase that budget, it's not going to really throw it off. Now with this one, because we're on such a good trend, 18 bucks cost per result down to 12, I'd be looking at horizontally scaling that one. Let's go on to the South African middle of funnel. So overall, what's our frequency sitting at for a camp? 2, perfect. Not really. I don't like that that has under purchase at that level of spend. I would be getting this feedback carousel one turned off personally. Yeah, I would definitely be. I'd be getting this one turned off. Maximum time frame, one purchase. It's absorbing quite a lot of the spend. Go over 30 days, no purchase. Getting a decent amount of the spend, 7 days. Again, still getting a bit of, still getting like the second most amount of spend, no purchase. I'd be getting that one turned off, and then hopefully that spend is distributed a little bit more evenly across the board there. But that's my sort of thought process across the board. Outbound click-through rate is good. Cost per landing page view is fine. So yeah, feedback carousel for the South African middle and bottom of funnel. I'll be getting that one turned off. Let's have a look at what we're in now. So the Kenyan middle and bottom of funnel. Wow, good results here. Frequency is sitting strong. What we're looking at over the last 7 days. Okay, still these two carrying. So I personally wouldn't make any changes to this. I wouldn't look at scaling it up just because our frequency, I like the frequency sitting around here. So I wouldn't look at scaling it up, but I also wouldn't look at making any changes to this. This is looking really strong over 3.18 over the last 7 days. 3.25 is creeping up a little bit. I would be keeping an eye on you on this video one here. I wouldn't turn it off just because we are still getting purchases in, right? But it is a high cost per purchase. This ROAS isn't really that indicative, and it's a big reason as to why I don't use like the ROAS as like my main point of truth, just because 27 bucks cost per purchase, someone must have put a massive order in to hit that 4x ROAS, where we can see here it's like 7 and 5, and we're only sitting marginally above that. So I'd be keeping an eye on that video, but I wouldn't be turning it off yet. If we sort of get to 30-40 bucks spent with no purchases, then I'd be looking at getting that one killed. Kenyan Evergreen campaign, what are we running at the moment? We're running all 3 ad sets. They're all looking pretty, they're not looking bad. Look at my hair. Okay. Well, okay. That's interesting to see that that's sort of gone down quite a bit there. I would be keeping a close eye on the look at my hair for the stacked interest. I wouldn't turn it off yet just because it has been pulling in some really good results. I'd let that one spend a little bit more, and then we can sort of make that decision. What are we looking at across for this one here? Yeah, I would be leaving that one. Yeah. So again, I wouldn't make any changes to this evergreen campaign. I would just be keeping a close eye on the look at my hair one, the lookalike one, letting it run for. No, it wasn't that one. Sorry, it was this one. Look at my hair, stacked interest. Over the last 30 days, decent cost per purchase. 14 days, decent cost per purchase. 7 days, we're still getting purchases in, but it's quite a high cost for us. But I'd let it run just a little bit longer, maybe up to like 60 bucks mark, and then we can look at killing it. US creative testing campaign. Okay, these just haven't really spent enough to make that decision. I mean, ooh, okay. One thing I would personally be doing is getting this US broad produce own oils one turned off. Um, Outbound click-through rate is not great, but we're paying 9 bucks per landing page view. So I would be getting that one and probably that one turned off. It's still really early days, right? But my sort of thought process is if we're paying 9 bucks per landing page view, it's probably not going to be a profitable campaign. So I'd be getting those two turned off. Advantage Plus. Okay. I would be keeping it very close. This is the South African Advantage Plus shopping campaign. I'd be keeping a very close eye on this oil set ingredients carousel. Over the maximum time frame, it was doing pretty well, but 30 days, 31 bucks, no results. Not a great outbound click-through rate. 14 days, Facebook has just dumped all of the spend to the look at my hair one, which is usually a sign. So I would potentially, based off what I've said, to horizontally scale those ads that I've mentioned across these two campaigns, I would also be looking to put them in the South Africa Advantage Plus shopping campaign as well. Because one problem that we're going to run into across the board with this is this look at my hair one is just going to constantly absorb most of the spend now. As we can sort of see here, last 14 days it's had most of the spend. So I think it's let's get those ads that I said to horizontally scale. I'd horizontally scale, but I'd also move them up into the Advantage Plus shopping campaigns and into the Evergreen campaign. Wow, that is look at my hair. Tanzania is absolutely killing it. Okay, I'd be getting why it works turned off personally. Yeah, I'd be getting that one turned off. Maximum time frame, 165 bucks, one purchase. I'd be killing that. It's absorbing most of the spend here when I know that's over a 30-day time frame, but Facebook's just allocating it nothing now. It's run its course. So I'd be getting that one turned off. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you've got any other questions, please just let me know.